Welcome to Analects of Wisdom. Today, we delve into the rich and profound tradition of the Dreamtime, a timeless and living cosmology deeply rooted in the cultural frameworks of Aboriginal peoples across Australia. We'll explore its enduring relevance, uncovering lessons that continue to inspire harmony, balance, and connection with the land, the cosmos, and each other. Envision an era preceding any clear delineation of past or future, a primordial expanse where the landscape had not yet solidified, and the boundaries between sky, land, and water were still in flux. In the cultural frameworks of many Aboriginal peoples across Australia, this is the setting for the Dreamtime, also commonly called the Dreaming. The Dreamtime is not merely a distant origin story, but a living, ever-present continuum that informs social, spiritual, and ecological practices. Scholars, Indigenous elders, and anthropologists alike have grappled with its complexity, often emphasizing that any attempt to place it strictly within Western categories, whether myth, history, or religion, risks oversimplification. As the late Australian anthropologist W.E.H. Stanner famously noted, the dreaming is a sacred, heroic time of the indefinite past, but also a certain order of things continuing still. It is this enduring relevance that continues to guide countless Aboriginal communities as they navigate their relationship to the land, to each other, and to the cosmos. A living cosmology beyond linear time. Many Aboriginal languages offer distinct words for what English often translates as dreamtime. The Pitjantjatjara people use Chukurpa, the Yawarus speak of Bugarigara, and other groups employ their own terms to articulate the same central concept, an ancestral epoch that both preceded and underlies the present. Rather than a closed chapter, the Dreamtime remains active, providing a template for right living, moral conduct, and ecological balance. As anthropologist Deborah Bird-Rose has written, Aboriginal cosmology anchors events in a transformative realm where the separation between past and present is tenuous. In a Western frame of reference, time tends to unfold in a straight line, from a remote past to an unknown future. In Dreamtime cosmology, however, time is understood as cyclical or layered, with the deeds of the ancestors resonating in the here and now. Ceremonies reenact the original creative acts, ensuring that the cosmos is renewed and that communities remain in balance with their ancestral obligations. Thus, the Dreamtime cannot be relegated to a mere footnote of things long past. As many elders assert, the Dreamtime is perpetually accessible. We are always living in its shadow and its light. The Rainbow Serpent, creator and teacher. One of the most widespread and potent figures in Dreamtime stories is the Rainbow Serpent. Known by different names and visual representations throughout Australia's diverse language groups, this being is frequently depicted as winding its way across an unformed landscape, carving out riverbeds and forming waterholes. These life-giving sources of water are essential to survival, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions. Yet the Rainbow Serpent is not simply a creator figure. It also serves as a moral and ecological instructor, embodying a fundamental lesson about abundance and responsibility. Elder Bob Randall once put this ethos succinctly: "The land owns us. We don't own the land. The land is our mother, our provider, and our teacher." This statement challenges Western notions of ownership, recasting humanity as custodians rather than proprietors. In practical terms, this means that taking from the land is permissible only when done sustainably and with respect for the renewal of the environment. While scientific conservation efforts have become a global topic in recent decades, many Dreamtime-inspired practices, such as controlled burning, rotational hunting, and reverence for water sources, have been in place for millennia, exemplifying a sophisticated ecological ethic deeply integrated into cultural identity. Mapping the stars. The emu in the sky. Looking upward into the night sky, one encounters another dimension of Dreamtime teachings, whereas Western astronomical traditions often focus on the patterns formed by connecting bright stars. Many Aboriginal star lore traditions highlight the negative spaces, shapes drawn from the dark areas within the Milky Way. One of the most cited examples is the emu in the sky, a constellation discerned not by star points but by the sweeping emu-like silhouette formed in the dust lanes. For many Aboriginal groups, the emu in the sky serves as both a spiritual symbol and a practical guide. Observing its seasonal position helps communities know when emu eggs are abundant, synchronizing ceremonial life with the cycles of birth and regeneration on Earth. Ray Norris, an astronomer who has extensively studied Indigenous Australian astronomy, notes that such star knowledge is an ingenious coupling of cosmological storylines with real-world survival strategies, underscoring that Aboriginal cosmology serves social, spiritual, and ecological functions simultaneously. The celestial realm in this sense is not distant from human affairs, but intimately connected to what happens on the land below. Tiddalick the Frog, a cautionary tale of greed. Dreamtime lore also addresses social and environmental ethics through narrative cautionary tales. The story of Tiddalick the Frog remains one of the most widely told. According to the tradition, Tiddalick drank every drop of water during a time of severe drought, leaving the land cracked and lifeless. Other creatures, desperate for water, devised ways to make Tiddalick laugh, eventually succeeding. In his laughter, he disgorged all the water he had hoarded, restoring balance to the land. While often shared with children, the moral underpinnings of the Tiddalick story are profoundly relevant in a world grappling with resource scarcity and climate change. The narrative warns against hoarding and highlights the need for collective effort to rectify ecological imbalance. As anthropologists have noted, such tales historically reinforced communal responsibilities, reminding listeners that selfish actions can jeopardize entire ecosystems and communities. Dadirri, the practice of deep listening. Interwoven throughout Dreamtime teachings is a cultural practice described in some Aboriginal languages as Dadirri, an approach to awareness often translated as deep listening. While this concept may be challenging to capture fully in English, Miriam Rose Ungunmer Bauman, a respected elder from the Daly River region, has offered valuable insight. Dadirri is inner deep listening and quiet, still awareness. It is something like what you call contemplation. From a scholarly perspective, Dadirri can be understood as an epistemological framework that values patience, observation, and a willingness to be taught by the land and its creatures. Practicing Dadirri means attentively listening to the sounds, rhythms, and cues of the environment, recognizing that humans are part of a broader community of life. This ethic of listening extends beyond ecological concerns into social relationships, underscoring empathy, reciprocity, and a deliberate pace of communication. Seen in this light, Dadirri provides a cornerstone for maintaining harmony both within human communities and with the environment at large. A further dimension of Dreamtime knowledge can be found in the concept of songlines, sometimes referred to as dreaming tracks. These are routes that trace the journeys of ancestor beings across the landscape, each tied to specific songs, stories, and ceremonies. In some traditions, individuals inherit responsibility for particular stretches of these songlines, ensuring that the lore is kept alive through continuous performance and oral transmission. Bruce Chatwin's popular work on Songlines introduced aspects of this cultural practice to a global readership, although many Indigenous scholars and community members caution that Chatwin's interpretation may overlook the depth and variety of songline traditions. Far from being mere walking songs, these routes map waterholes, resource locations, and seasonal movements, while simultaneously embedding moral lessons and genealogical records. Anthropologist Fred R. Myers has emphasized that songlines are living documents, continually reinterpreted in accordance with present-day circumstances, reflecting the adaptive, yet enduring nature of Dreamtime-based cosmologies. When viewed through an ecological lens, the Dreamtime underscores a long-standing, place-based system of managing resources. Practices such as fire stick farming, using controlled burns to regenerate bushland, are backed by Dreamtime stories instructing how to handle fire responsibly. In this manner, cultural narratives function as both spiritual imperatives and practical guidelines. As Bill Nagy, a Gaguju elder, once said, "We cultivated a land but did not plough the earth. We did not delve into the earth or remove anything from it. We kept the land, the animals and the trees, just the way they were." For Western ecologists and policymakers, these insights increasingly represent valuable knowledge that can inform modern environmental strategies. Yet it is crucial to remember that, for Aboriginal communities, these are not mere techniques but part of a sacred obligation, a covenant woven into the Dreamtime. The Dreamtime, therefore, cannot be reduced to an environmental management handbook. It is an overarching worldview in which spirituality and sustainable living are inseparable. It is also important to stress that the Australian continent is home to hundreds of language groups, each with its own Dreamtime variants, creation stories, and ceremonial protocols. The Pitjantjatjara emphasis on Chukurpa may differ in details from the Yawuru focus on Bugarigara, or from the narratives upheld by Yolngu peoples in Arnhem Land. Despite these regional distinctions, a unifying thread persists. The land is animate, the ancestors are ever present, and human beings hold lasting responsibilities grounded in ancient lore. There is no single, monolithic Dreamtime tradition, but rather a rich tapestry of interrelated cosmologies that collectively affirm a reciprocal partnership between humans and the living world. In an era when discussions of climate change, biodiversity loss, and social fragmentation dominate international discourse, the lessons embedded in the Dreamtime resonate with renewed urgency. Researchers and Indigenous knowledge holders alike point out that the ecological ethics, respect for water, careful use of fire, sustainable harvesting, are not merely historical artifacts, but viable guides for the future. These time-honored practices reflect an understanding that humanity exists within an interconnected web of life, a principle echoed by many spiritual and environmental movements worldwide. Simultaneously, the Dreamtime offers a counter-narrative to consumerism and the commodification of nature. By upholding the land as teacher and mother, Aboriginal cosmologies invite reflection on the broader implications of human actions. In her writings, Miriam Rose Ungunmer Baumann encourages readers from all cultural backgrounds to consider whether a practice akin to Dadirri, quiet, contemplative listening, might foster more equitable and sustainable communities. From a documentary standpoint, the stories of the Rainbow Serpent, Tiddalick, and the emu in the sky serve not as quaint folklore, but as dynamic repositories of cultural resilience and ecological acumen. Ultimately, the Dreamtime stands as a testament to the extraordinary depth and diversity of Aboriginal knowledge systems. Far from being confined to a distant pre-contact era, it continues to inform practices, ceremonies, and ethical understandings for Indigenous Australians today. In many respects, it is a conceptual ecosystem in which the material, the spiritual, and the social mutually reinforce one another. Through the Rainbow Serpent's creative journey, the emu's luminous reflection in the night sky, Tiddalick's cautionary tale of greed, and the ever-present call to practice Dadirri, the Dreamtime teaches that the fabric of existence is both delicate and immensely powerful, a network that binds humans, animals, plants, and celestial bodies into a single, ongoing story. As Elder Bob Randall's words remind us, the land is not an inert resource for human exploitation, but a living entity that nurtures us while requiring care in return. Such perspectives, crystallized in Dreamtime stories and ceremonies, hold the potential to reshape conversations about sustainability, intercultural respect, and ethical living. For those seeking to understand the Australian continent, or indeed the broader human condition, the Dreamtime offers a profound lens, one through which the land speaks, the stars guide, and the old laws of reciprocity and reverence remain vital to the very continuity of life. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the Dreamtime. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more wisdom from the world's greatest spiritual traditions. Until next time, may you walk the path of courage, wisdom and peace.